Let's get started with our digital card for Mother's Day. And I want to thank Cheryl McCain for all the beautiful artwork. This is from her Life's Medley collection. You can find it at her website. First thing I like to do is create a file on my desktop containing all the elements that I think or want to use for my project. It makes it a lot simpler to just have this little bit to go through than try to scan my whole digital collection that's way too large. So we're going to get started, and what I like to do is I like to start with the main element first. Let's take a step back. The first thing I do is I create my canvas, and here's my canvas right here. And I made it at a 7 by 5. This is a great size. Oh, the resolution is 300. This is a great size to go ahead and create your project, and that way you would be able to print it off and send it as a card, or later on, like what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it and bring the resolution size down because I want to actually put this in an email to my mother. And I'll show you how to do that later on. So let's get started. Now that I've made my canvas, I kind of ignore that till the very end, and I'm going to get started on my main element. And now Cheryl has created some very beautiful things already, but her kit contains so many elements that you can start with the very basic and build your own. But today, for the purposes of this demonstration, I went ahead and chose one of hers that she's already made. Now here's the picture of my mom, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to crop it down. I'm using Photoshop CS4. And now that I've cropped that photo down, I'm going to come to the image, and as you can see, it's a resolution of 72. That's very low. It is only internet quality. But I really like this picture of me and my mom, so I'm going to go ahead and use it. As you can see, it's really grainy. But as you add it into the elements that I've chosen, you can see it gets a little better. It doesn't look so grainy, and like I said, this is the picture I really like. So I lay it over top to make sure that it fits inside. It does real well. So I will put that underneath now, and I will just adjust it to where I want it to go. So you can see it's coming out the side a little bit. So I'll just bring that in, and there it disappears. Okay, I'm going to come back up here and make sure both of my layers are linked together. That way when I move it, it will move all of one piece. And I'm going to come back down here, and I'm going to resize it. And now remember, our canvas is 7 by 5, so I'm going to give this a try here. We're going to move it on up. And there you go. It fits real well in there. We'll adjust that later. Okay, so now I can close these elements down. And when you close them down, don't save them. So that way they'll go back to their original form. And you can reuse them another time. Now I'm going to work on the second important element, which is this tag here. I'm going to add some text, and I want to use a purple text. So I'm going to pull up my eyedropper here and choose lighter purple. You can see the color. It's still a little too black. There you go. That's a little lighter. We can always try it and change it if we don't like it. So I'll put my first text here, and this is the text I want. and I want it at 24 for the headline. So here we say Happy Mother's Day. But I want it all on one line, so all I have to do is lengthen it out a little bit. There you go. And now I can move that right down where I want it to be. Okay, I'm going to add another text in here, and I want this to be 18. You can also look over here on the side panel, and here's the 18, but it's also 18 points separation in the line, and so we'll see how that looks together also. Let's see, let's say thinking of you today and always. That spacing looks pretty good, so I'll just keep it like that, and I'll say love. And to my mom, I am Vicky. I guess she can call me whatever she wants as long as it's not late for dinner. All right, sometimes I'm a dork, but so we'll move that on down. Get that spaced in there. Again, we're going to come up and lock all of our layers together. Since I'm recording this, my Photoshop is a little temperamental. Okay, so the layers are locked, and now we will come up here, and I want to resize this, and I'm going to go down to a 3. Grab it, pull it up, and put it on the canvas. And I like it right about there. Okay. Okay, so the only other thing, these elements are so beautiful. I'm going to keep the rest of it kind of plain. But I don't want these right here showing, so I picked out a really cute ribbon. And I'm sure this is going to need to be resized also. So let's do a 7, because that would be the length of our... Oh, forgot to close that down. Nope, well, that looks okay. That looks okay. All right, I like don't save and don't save. I like that it's adding some more color in here. So the last thing we have to do are these two backgrounds. I chose a dark and a lighter. I don't think this is going to work well, but I want to give it a try. I like that effect to the paper, but I think it's going to be too dark. And so we'll move it all the way down so it's underneath. Yeah, see, that's too, and so even if you come up here to the opacity and try to lighten it, it grays it out. It's still too dark. So I won't be using that. I'll use the green, and I really like the way she did this in here. So I'm going to try to resize this right now, and I will put it to a 7.2. So that gives us just a little bit over the edge. Yeah, I like that. Okay, and when you're wanting to come up to the border, just use your arrow keys, and it'll take care of that. And yeah, see, I really like this area in here. It really adds to it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this embellishment up just a little bit. Okay. And I am a brush fanatic. Okay, it's going to want to rasterize first. And I like dates, so I'm going to put just a little brush date down there. And the last step I like to do is totally crop the image. So anything that is laying outside the canvas doesn't need to be worried about. We can just, and here's our card for our mom. Picture's still a little grainy, but I think she'll like it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come up here, and now if you wanted to have it printed, I would do the save as, so it will hold all the proportion, and when you send it off to the printers or put it on your thumb drive, however you do it, it'll print out much better. But since I'm going to use it for an email, I am going to print it for internet. And I'm even going to come down here and change this to, let's try 800 and see how that works. I'm going to leave it on high, the quality on high, so the photograph stays in the best condition as possible. There, it shrank down a little bit. And let's go ahead. I'd saved one earlier. Okay, so now what I want to show you, here's my file that I made for the desktop. Now here's my email, and I'm going to insert the image. I don't want to attach it because when she opens it up, I want her to see the card. And there it is. So I will address it Happy Mother's Day and send it to my mom for Mother's Day. Thanks, Cheryl, for all the beautiful artwork.